How's it going, everyone?
It's
Terrible here.
It's just bad. Yeah.
In fact,
like
this is
full blown spiral.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's rough.
I'm double bagging chamomile tea right now, so we're just putting it straight into an IV.
Hello, and welcome to Spooky Sips, where we put our love of horror movies into a podcast and sip some spirits along the way. I'm one of your hosts, Yvette, here with my co-hosts, Laura and Brianna.
Hello.
Hey. Okay, so for this week's episode, Laura's husband, Jaden, recommended this YouTube short. And because we're in January, the shortest month of the year, we thought, hey, that's perfect. So it's less than 20 minutes.
February.
Wait, what did I say?
February. You said January.
Did I really?
We are in January, but it's coming out in February.
Listen, it's been a bad week, okay?
I thought January was February, so you thought February was January. It's fine. It all balances out.
Like, we're 1 month in, and none of us can get our dates right.
And January is the longest month of the year, so what was I thinking? February is the shortest month. And that's when you'll be listening to this episode.
Yes.
If we're all still here. Okay. So it's a YouTube short, so that's where you watch it. It's less than 20 minutes. Essentially all it is a couple receives this mysterious package from an old friend. And there we go.
So, okay, I know Jaden recommended it, but had either of you watched this before?
No. I have.
Neither have I.
It's funny though, because I have seen, as I was watching it, I was like, shit, have I seen this before?
Mm-hmm.
I just think I've seen conversation about it.
Yeah.
I think that's how I knew it.
It was all new to me.
Yeah, this is one where it's like, why didn't anyone tell me? Why wasn't I on the email about this short? Like, it's so good.
Production quality for a 15-minute movie or however long it was actually incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, I'm looking at, it was 2018 when it came out.
Yeah, and it has like 20 million views. At least the video I saw like on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 20 million views.
And the rating on IMDb is good. It's 7.2, which for horror, like they usually don't do.
I can't believe none of us had heard of it.
I know. It's wild.
When it ends, they scroll to the cast, and there's just a couple of people in this.
Yeah.
Like it's a very small cast.
There's a few because they're of the
extras,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just get into it
because it's so short. We could just talk through everything.
Right.
First of all, it's a couple whose acting is horrible.
It's not amazing.
I hated their acting, especially the woman. I forget her name.
I was just like, why are you being this way?
Well, okay, so they're cooking and they're arguing about the length of broccoli. Who argues about the length of broccoli?
You know what? Actually, I've got to say, I've argued about the length of broccoli.
No,
because,
if it's too big, if it's too bite-sized. No, like it actually doesn't
stem. If it's not the right cut, I've argued about broccoli.
I have to say, I really like steamed broccoli, so I make it quite often for myself for like the side for dinner. And I was making it tonight, and I couldn't. I just kept thinking about the stupid people and like, is my broccoli 2 inches, or is it supposed to be more than 2 inches, less than 2 inches?
And she was like kidding him, relating it to something else she knows that's 2 inches.
Size.
Yeah,
but she was mean. Laura. She was really mean about it.
She was.
I was like, I don't feel like she's kidding.
2 inches.
Right.
That's extreme.
2 inches.
Extreme length on the short side.
I feel like that's about Ghosty's size.
Oh my gosh.
You can't compare Ghosty to
I think he is about 2 inches.
I think that's about right.
Oh.
poor Ghosty. Sorry.
Oh no. Okay.
So they're in the kitchen cooking, and he's giving her a hard time about not stirring the sauce enough.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a knock at the door.
Yeah. But I swear, their acting is not incredible, but just in terms of setting the scene, you already feel tension.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they've already you already know something's off. Like, obviously we know it's a horror short, so like something's coming, but like, I swear, like from the start, you know something. You see the big knife, and you're like, oh, that big knife is coming back later. the acting's not great, but the tension and like the setting of the scene is good.
Yeah. I think the timing of things in this movie is really good, especially considering it's so short.
Yes.
I feel like they did well with that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like I was in it the whole time.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I was hooked the whole time.
No, I didn't look away. Like I was paying attention the whole time.
Because the last short that we watched was the strange thing about the Johnsons, right?
And it's not that
one
wasn't well
me.
done. It just was so traumatizing.
Really disturbing.
I liked this one a little bit more.
I like this one a lot more.
Like this, I would watch again.
Yeah.
That one 100%. I will not.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I can morally recommend.
I don't think I can.
The other one. This one I could recommend. So.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the guy at the door is Sean.
Yeah.
And it's really like an awkward situation. Like she clearly doesn't want Sean to be there, and they're just the way they're speaking to each other is like very tense and awkward, but the boyfriend Ben lets Sean in. And they're like,
he says that she's not home. Rachel, right, is not home. And he's like, Rachel's not here.
Yeah. Like, there's history. Like, she didn't want to see him. He lies. He sees the picture of them, and you can tell it's kind of like, oh,
weird moment.
And he says like, sorry about how things went down. So is it that he's the ex of the girl? I don't know.
Or they like cheated and ended up together. Like there's something there.
We know there's history. And I think they said that it had been a long time.
Yes.
Since he had seen him. So we know there's history. It's a weird, it's a contentious relationship.
Yeah. Right. And it's weird for him to be there.
Yeah.
Like that's clear. But he is glad that Rachel's not there.
Yeah.
And he has this wrapped gift because it's Christmas time.
Yeah. No, it's a Christmas short. We're giving you Christmas in February.
Yes.
You're welcome.
And he's like very weird about like asking him to open it. He's like, you need to open it.
Yeah.
And he even says like, open it first and then the card. It'll make more sense, which is not the way most people would open a gift. Usually it's card then boxed.
Yeah.
So he does?
Yeah. He opens it and it's nothing, or, you can't see.
Yeah.
anything.
It's this weird void. It's like a black hole. Like it's not just an empty box. It's not an empty box. It is devoid of anything in that space.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. Like light won't shine in it. Like it's a super interesting concept.
And once he's got it open, Sean leaves. And he's like, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. Like he's like he's apologizing. So we know something. No, when I seeing the box, it's like, did you guys ever see like the, like the blackest black paint? Like an artist made the blackest black. And if you see it, like it looks like when you're looking at the box where it's like there's not like it like doesn't absorb light.
Yeah, it's like a black hole.
So black. Yeah.
I thought you were going to ask if we had ever seen Dick in a Box, because I also thought of that.
I also thought of that too.
I don't know that I'll ever not think of that for the rest of my life. If it's a man in a box. Like, but anyways.
Did I tell you I went to a Halloween party once where it was when like Dick in a Box was like not that old. It was a couple years old, but not that old. And somebody came dressed as Justin Timberlake, like with like, like the white blazer and kind of like the sparkle top. And then he just had like a Christmas box like wrapped. And it was like a dog squeaky toy.
Oh my God.
In there.
Stop it.
Oh, okay. Wait, since we're talking about Justin Timberlake and we were talking about how bad things are, I want to share some good news, things that bring me joy. So here in Portland, it's like a couple blocks up. I don't know if he's a teacher or like a coach at a school. He started this thing called the Bike Bus. And so they start kind of like on one street. And then they just bike to school. I think they hit like a couple schools, but all the kids join, like their kids and their parents, they all join. And so it's a bike bus that they all like bike over to school. Very Portland. It literally makes me cry for some reason, how like beautiful it is.
Yeah.
But it's just a few blocks up. And for some reason, he like had asked Justin Timberlake to come join this bike bus one day. And he was here for his tour.
Oh my gosh.
And he went. So he joined them on like a whole like little like Justin Timberlake themed bike bus. So he joined all these kids on their little like commute to school. I feel like the moms were the most excited, honestly. Like the millennial moms.
Of course.
That's amazing.
I was like, that is just so cute.
That's
like
so sweet.
He rolled up in his little bicycle with all the kids and like, it was really cute. For some reason, the bike bus literally makes me cry. Like how cute it is. Just all the kids biking to school.
No, it's very sweet. I love that.
Yeah. So anyway, he was here.
It seems like Justin Timberlake might have some demons in his, closet or some things.
I mean, don't we all?
Don't we all? And I will say, I went to his bar in Nashville. It was so fun. And it was so cool.
I didn't know he had a bar in Nashville.
He owns a bar in Nashville. It's like 237 or what's it called?
This is now a Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, this is now a Justin Timberlake podcast. Actually,
I don't remember what it was. It's like something numbers or something. But when my husband and I went to Nashville not too long or this past summer, some local people had recommended like go to his bar, and we went there twice because it was so good. So anyway, go Justin Timberlake!
Yay, Justin!
Yes.
All right, back to the box.
Back to the box. So she comes into the room and she's like, "What did he want?" Mm-hmm. And she's like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
And they try to like fuck with it, like to understand it. So he throws like a pencil in and nothing.
And he tries to like shine a flashlight and just nothing. No reflection. Nothing. You don't even hear the pencil drop.
I was like, I want them to get something long and try to put it in and see if it
like a Mary Poppins bag.
He was about to put his hand in when she, again, first smart move. No, don't do that.
She was like, don't touch it.
Do not. Don't put your arm in.
So then they go read the note.
Then they read the card, And it says like, sorry, but I had to give it to someone. It was something like, it can't move if you watch it. Like all I know is it can't like move if you watch it.
Keep watching it.
Yeah. But while she's reading it, the pencil rolls back out.
Which and we look over very like amazing simple moment that like
it's just classic horror, so like this whole short is just like classy spooky vibes.
Yes, it is. And so because they were turned to like look at the pencil and read the card, then they look back at the box and there's this like wet man's head, just like the eyes up.
Yeah, just his eyes like staring at them.
And it's so good.
No, that was such a good little, it wasn't even like a full jump scare, but just like such a good reveal.
Yes, exactly. Because it was so like understated. So it like was very impactful.
Just, he's there.
It was creepy.
So then they're like, okay, we have to test this out. And they're like, so we'll look away, but just for a second, because we need to know what happens. Like,
yeah.
And they do. And now he's like got his hands out of the box. He's poking
slowly coming out
over.
And he's like staring at her. So they're like saying like, well, what do you think it wants? Like, why is it staring at you? They can't. Yeah.
They try to talk to him. Like,
and it like, it just mimics their voice back to them. Like whatever the last like 3 sentences was, he just like fully repeats it.
So it's like he's like just a recording device that's just records them and then plays it back. But then they hear it playing back Sean saying Ben can't leave the house.
Yeah.
So then they're thinking, oh gosh, so that means it recorded Sean saying that. So we got to go figure out what the heck this is. We got to go talk to Sean.
Yeah. And Sean's not answering his phone, of course.
Like, and at this point, I really don't understand why he went.
Exactly.
Like at all.
Right. Because if they truly believed that Ben, the rule was that Ben couldn't leave the house. There's 2 of them there. Why did he say, he even said, he's like, well, we know it has to be me that goes. Why is it that Ben had to go and confront Sean, but the girl stayed home?
I think they thought that it was like, oh, because it's saying not to leave, I should leave.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, oh, clearly this is reverse psychology and we should do the opposite of what it's saying.
Okay.
And I mean, again, we knew there was something up with this relationship where like she didn't want to see him like at all.
Right.
So it was like, okay, well, one of the two of them has to go.
Yeah.
If she just keeps an eye on the box.
Yeah. So he brings her a chair and the kitchen knife that we saw earlier.
Yeah.
And he's like, just don't look away and I'll be right back.
Yep.
So Ben's like driving,
mm-hmm.
and he's still calling Sean, and Sean finally picks up, and Ben is like, "We heard you tell it to like say I can't leave the house or something," and then Sean is like, "It's lying. I never said that,
and it didn't talk to me."
Oh like, he said it never talked to me.
I didn't hear it say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he gets really distressed when he learns that Rachel is with it. And he's like, "Oh my God, man, like it's you, like."
Yeah, you have to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just anyone. It has to be, he's like, I gave the box to you.
Right.
Which at this point we realized that means the little guy in the box, he was just going along with it
to
make it look like it could be either of them.
Right.
So he turns around, drives home, and the guy's like, just don't even go home. Like, just don't go back.
Right.
But he has to.
And he does. And as he walks in, the floor is wet. And there's a trail leading up to the knife.
Yeah, the counter is wet, and the even the knife itself is wet.
And I really just loved the videography in this, like the way that it took us along with it, like in the trail was really cool.
Yeah,
I just love the way that they filmed it.
Yeah.
And he hears the sink on.
Yes,
the kitchen sink.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell. I was like, is it a? Because then we also hear water again, and I couldn't tell if it was a shower or if it was the faucet. I think it's both.
Yeah,
is what he sees. But then he hears Rachel's voice,
right?
Because he goes to look for her because she's not there,
and it sounds so unnatural. Like he's like, "Oh, like," and it's like she says, "Yeah, what's up?"
You're like, "Hey, what's up?" Like just super like
nothing is happening.
Yeah.
And again, we're hearing water. So downstairs is the bedroom and the bathroom.
Oh, and also as he's going through the house, I love this little detail. It wasn't ever really explained, but it was great anyway. All the light fixtures are pulled from the walls.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Like it's not even like, oh, the power is out. It's like, no, they like individually took out all of the power. Yeah.
But there's a cord light, like a light bulb from the ceiling that he turns on.
And he's like at the base of the stairs. So he can like look into the hallway, like where the bathroom is, where like the shower is running, or he can look up the stairs.
Yep.
And we end up like seeing someone kind of in the reflection of like the door, the shower door.
And he tries to say like, "Oh, I see you." Like try to get him to stop. Like, "I can see you." But then he hears a sound coming from the other direction. So he has to look away.
And it starts with just one, right?
Yeah.
Like shrouded figure at the top of the stairs.
Yeah. They're it's like, it's just a regular human, but they're all backlit. So it's just dark. It's like a shadow.
Yeah.
So he looks back at the man.
Who's closer now.
Yep. But then he looks back at the stairs, and now there's a few of them.
They're like converging.
And one really looks like it's Rachel because like it had the same bob haircut. So I
totally didn't even notice that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It was like the exact same haircut silhouette. So I'm guessing we were meant to think
I was thinking that
one of them.
Yeah.
And so there's more of them and they're closer.
Yes.
Yep. And then we turn and see the guy, and his arm is lifted up where he can like not quite touching the string of the light, but he's like just about to get it. And so he's like staring at him, and you can just hear them coming down the steps. And so he looks away towards the group, and the light turns off.
Boom.
That's it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so good.
It was I was captivated the whole time. Like, not to be like, wow, my attention span's so good, I could watch something for 15 minutes. But I didn't look away. Like that was full.
I know.
15 minutes. I was in it. I really enjoyed it. Again, just classic spookiness, which I think is like my my favorite. Like, I don't really know what the genre is of this, but I love just a spooky story.
Like mystery spooky kind of.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And for it being so incredibly short, did anyone check exactly how long it was?
It's like 15 minutes and 30 seconds.
For it being 15 minutes, they told so much of a story.
It like packed such a punch. Like I feel like it was a whole story, like a whole episode in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
Which is like wild to be able to pull that off.
Yeah. No, and honestly, I feel like, because at the end I was like, wow, that was amazing. I wish it was longer.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I don't know, like, does it work so well because it's a short?
Right.
You know, like, it was kind of just like perfect in this short form that, like, maybe you don't need more. I don't know. Like, I guess if you added other stuff, you can stretch it out to like a feature length film. But like, it was just so perfect.
And
like,
it's one of those things where it gives us so little detail that we fill in our own interpretation. So it really, I think that's why it feels like a longer story, because we have filled in. Like, I mean, like, even just the fact that like they never told us what was happening with the dynamic. But like, I got the vibe that it was this like weird ex situation, and like, who better, like, you have to give this to someone, who better than the asshole that screwed you over. So like,
oh, your woman.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like it very much gave me like vibes of you're sitting around a campfire and you're telling a spooky story, and this is the spooky story that you would tell, and
yes,
that's what it did, and it did a great job.
No, that's a good way. Yeah, like the campfire spooky story. It has all, you know, it's like, oh, then there's this mystery box, and this is what's coming out of it. Like it kind of reminded me of, have you guys watched It Follows?
Yes.
I feel like I haven't seen that.
It's a good one.
No,
we might need to add it. Okay. Just like the idea of staring at the monster the whole time. Like the monster is there. You know, I feel like something we talk about is like, oh, don't show us the monster. It makes it scarier. Whereas like this one does like extreme opposite. The monster is there the whole time, and we're just going to stare at it. Right. We can see it, and we know what the threat is, but it also doesn't like take away from the story. Like it actually works. Where it's like, what if we have him there the entire time?
Yep. I know.
In a box.
In a box.
Speaking of, we should talk about what we're sipping on.
Yes.
Laura, you chose our drink tonight.
Yes. So I selected an old familiar because this is something that I sip on more often than not. We're watching a horror movie about a box, so we should be drinking boxed wine.
Yes.
So I personally like a boxed red wine, but you can get whatever, you know, type of boxed wine you would like. But this movie is just enough time to just finish a glass from your boxed wine.
Yeah. So I feel like bonus points if you get the black box boxed wine.
Oh, yes. You know? Oh, shoot. That should have just been the whole thing. Okay. Scratch what I said earlier. Doesn't matter what kind. Get black box brand.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So before we get into anything else, my one question is like, why are they wet? And I know we never learn it, but I'm like, why are they wet?
I mean, I feel like, to me, that's just like the world that they come from, right? Like, I don't know if this is like an alternate universe, a portal to something. Like, it's like they're not humans, right? Like they're something. And to me, the water is like, that's just like the world that they come from. That's just what they're made of, or what they survive off of. I don't know.
Yes.
So I was like, what the heck am I going to do for psych this week? So I was looking up a little bit about the movie, and I did see this interview with the director, but I don't want to like step on fun facts toes.
No, I think I saw the same one probably. But.
Okay. Because one of the things he was saying too was like kind of some of the inspiration for how this movie started was he was talking about like in his hometown, there was like, he said something about flooding. I couldn't quite grasp.
Maybe we watched a different interview because I don't remember that.
Okay. So he was also talking about how, so like that's how kind of water like came to him when he was making it. But then he just thought, what a cool thing. Water is such a crucial part of us and that has to keep us alive. And what if we turn that into something that represents the spookiness? And he was like, I just thought that was kind of such an interesting dynamic to make, which I totally agree with him.
Yeah, because I think he had mentioned, like, to him, the water, it was like they almost bleed water. Like, that's kind of what he was going for with the knife, where he said, like, it's not really that obvious. You might not catch it. But what he was going for was almost the idea of, like, they bleed water. Like, that's just what they're made of, you know?
Yeah, because there is no blood.
No.
Not that we see.
So it's like maybe Rachel even stabbed one of them.
Right.
Tried to, yeah.
Yeah. But all we get is like little puddles of water.
I like this.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So do we have a psych segment?
All right. Well, guys.
Well, it's a short. It's okay. It'll be a mini one.
Mini psych.
So, yeah, it's a mini psych. So I was trying to think of, you know, what's some psychology behind the type of person that would, you know, push their own problems onto someone else or something like that. Because that's what I feel like Sean did.
Yeah, honestly,
like where you're going.
Let's talk about Sean.
Yeah, right.
Come on, Sean.
But I was having a hard time like getting into that. So then, because my husband Jaden picked this movie, I'm allowing him to pick the psych.
Nice.
So here was a suggestion he gave.
Okay.
For us to talk about. It's a little bit psych. It's a little bit mathematics.
Okay.
Let's talk about game theory.
Okay.
so really why I'm talking about this is game theory is kind of it's this theory where there can be a certain mathematical formulas for strategies for winning a game, especially like in this game where the opponent is really smart. So like the head in the box, the monster, he's smart. I mean, the fact that he thinks to first, the fact that he makes it so that you have to watch him the whole time, which is an impossible thing for a human to do.
Right.
But then also it first just acts like an echo. And then once it gets the couple to believe, oh, what I can do is I can echo, then it ends up lying, which is what gets them to believe that reverse psychology of Sean said Ben couldn't leave the house. So that means Ben has to leave the house, which is what they didn't want to do. So it's like, it's just
it's smart
strategies. Yeah. When you have a smart opponent. So I'm just going to explain some game theory.
Let's go for it. How do you beat the box?
So zero-sum games. There's different types of games. Zero-sum games is when the interests of the players totally conflict. So the man in the box and Ben and Rachel have completely conflicting end games here. They want to live, box wants them to die. So one person's gain is always going to be another person's loss in this situation. Versus other games where like sometimes you can both kind of gain, like there can be mutual gains or mutual losses. But the reason that game theory is kind of interesting in the like when you relate it to psychology is because it gives us insights in how we make our decisions. Like, how do you think you have to kind of then think how your opponent makes decisions to be able to decide what you're going to do. And it's like this kind of gambling thing that you have to do. So I feel like that's a lot of what we see going on in this movie is just like people making decisions based off of what they think the box wants, how they think the box is playing the game. And then also like the decision for Ben to be like, I'm going to give this to somebody I hate and make it his problem. That's a pretty big gamble.
Yeah. So, I guess Sean was probably pretty sleep deprived. Right? Because he said the one thing he knew is if you watch it, it won't move. And, you know, he watched it for long enough that it didn't ever talk to him or do anything. So
here's my other question.
If that would contribute.
I should have watched it over again because when he comes and delivers the box, it's all wrapped up. So he's technically, is he watching the box?
Well, that's true.
To them,
as he transports it,
as he makes the switch, does that count as him still watching when he wraps it? Because otherwise, could they have just wrapped the box? Problem solved.
Like you put the lid on it and you tape it up and it's gone.
Wait, that's so true. Yeah. Do we see him like looking at the box?
No.
I don't know. I'm just going to replay it.
Right?
Because this movie's 15 minutes
about
long.
it, like, yeah, I don't know.
Right? Yeah, it makes it kind of curious. It made me want to watch it, but I forgot to do that before we started to record.
Okay, the intro scene, like we see he's driving, but it's like out of focus. So I guess we can't really see where he's looking. I think we can assume he's looking at the road.
It could be like it's like the box is kind of up on the
It's on the the passenger seat.
Ooh, okay.
So like he would have to like not watch the road.
All right, so minor plot hole.
So we found a plot hole with the black hole.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Holes on holes.
Holes on holes.
I mean, yeah, he's like looking at him.
Yeah.
In the scene where he's giving him the box.
But maybe it's that once you've made the decision to give it to someone, as long as that person assumes responsibility, like you're off the hook. Maybe it's kind of like the ring with the tape. Once you make a copy, like once you've decided to gift it, it's okay.
Right.
Because clearly he knew he could give it to someone else. He said like all he knows he had to give it to someone.
Right.
And he made him open it. So part of me thinks like, yeah, maybe that was the commitment, right? If you could get them to open the box,
then you're off the hook.
Yeah, you could transfer it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. I buy it.
Okay. And then I know we've done some psychology of dogs, but then I wanted to talk about a little bit of psychology of cats.
Okay.
Here's why. I felt like the very last scene, it was exactly like what my cats do when they're stalking their prey, where like they get closer, but then freeze.
Yeah.
When they're looked at, and then they get closer, and then they freeze.
And cats do love boxes.
Yes, and they love boxes.
Yes.
I mean,
cat energy.
Yes.
So the psychological reasons why cats do that, it's actually evolved over time for them to hunt their prey. And so they do it because it allows them to really assess like the movement and the position of their prey that they're targeting. And it also helps them prepare for really precise and powerful pounces. So they'll like crouch low to the ground, which the guy was kind of crouched in the box to begin with. But then they kind of like stretch out a little bit. And then they move incrementally and deliberately. And then I think we kind of, at least I kind of thought this is what happened at the end. It's like this slow, and then boom, really fast, make their attack. That's kind of what I feel like happened at the end.
Yeah, I picked that. I feel like that's accurate.
Yeah. No, they're cat-like.
Which it really just like it allows you to be way more precise and like coordinate all your muscles and honestly just get more kills because you can be really exact and precise and fast.
Right.
Yeah.
So really, I think the monster in this movie has very similar psychology to that of a cat.
I love this.
Yeah. So they look human, made of or bleed water, and are potentially cat-like.
Love.
Yes.
Is what we have so far.
Yes. So that's a really short psych for a really short movie, but that's what I came up with tonight.
I love it.
No, I love it. It works.
Yep.
Yeah, I can give a few fun facts. I mean, IMDb I think has one, and said the budget was like $2,000. Like it was a small budget movie. So not a ton of fun facts, but I also found an interview with the director that I watched. So when he was asked where like the idea came from, he mentioned that just like he grew up kind of in the country, and the house that they had like giant windows that they didn't put any curtains on or anything because they were in the middle of nowhere. And he always had that fear of like, how scary would it be if someone was there? Yes. You know, just like and I feel like that's how this house felt. Like as soon as they showed it, like the front door is just all glass. Like I remember thinking that I was like, this house would be terrifying to live in.
I agree.
They have no window coverings.
Yeah.
And then he also said he always just loved a mystery box movie. You know, you love a mystery box.
Yeah.
You want like a mystery. And originally he said he didn't set out to make like a horror movie specifically. He wanted to make like a mystery kind of short, but then it evolved into more like a horror short.
Mm-hmm.
And then one other thing you mentioned is that the director is that it took a while to figure out the ending. So like I guess most of the short they kind of had like figured out in like a few days or maybe a couple of weeks, but the ending then took like months like to figure out how they wanted to end it. So like they came up with like a bunch of weird options. Like I think one option was that when the guy came back, like just the head that we saw in the box would be like on the girl's body. Like something happened there. So they came up with like a bunch of weird options until they landed on this one, which, you know, I think they landed on the right one.
I think good choice.
I like the subtlety of it. I feel like it worked with the rest of the subtlety of the movie.
Yeah. And then the final scene, I think originally they wanted to film it in a hallway. So, you know, the guy's in the middle, he's kind of like looking down both hallways as the two are converging on him. But when they were just like looking at locations, they like stumbled upon that little spot where you could see the stairwell and the bathroom.
Yeah, that worked really well.
Switching it there, which I feel like that works. That works so much better.
Oh yeah,
like then just like I mean, I think a hallway would have been fine. Like you get a hallway and they're coming, but I feel like that setup of like it because of the stairs, it felt like you were really surrounded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then one thing that I think was pretty obvious is that it's pretty much all practical. You know, the guy in the box was just under the table with his head poking out.
Nice.
The only real like effect that they added was the box. To make it like black. Like I don't think it even had a bottom. They said because they had to kind of like create a box that was that size. They like couldn't find the exact size box, so like they kind of made it, and I don't even think it had a bottom. So I think they just added. Like the black in post. It was just like black square here.
Yeah.
Which, you know, makes sense. And then the interview I saw was from like a month or two ago. And the director said he still goes and like checks the comments on YouTube every once in a while. So, you know, if you ever have more comments or feedback, I think he's on there.
All
he
right.
needs to go back and check on it. So I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that is fun. I wonder, like, has he done more? Do we know?
I think he released like a feature-length movie. I think it's actually the top comment on YouTube if you see it on there. Let me pull it up. Okay, yeah, the pinned comment is him, the director.
Okay.
The writer and director saying, if you like this, maybe you'll like this longer movie. Oh no, that's just another short film.
Okay, we're gonna have to check it out.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, he's done other stuff. I know he mentioned working on like a longer movie in the interview that I watched, but I can't remember the name. So he has some other stuff out there.
Nice.
I also just looked up the guy that played like the head in the box, and he looks like rather normal when he doesn't have that weird wet haircut. Like he just looks like
he did creepy very well.
He nailed it. I mean, again, we only saw his eyes and like the tips of his fingers for most of the movie. And it was perfect. Like his facial expression was perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, he's produced a few other things, but yeah, he's only been an actor in 3 things.
Nice.
So that's awesome.
Cute.
Well, there we go.
A nice short one.
Yes. Okay. So, I mean, I think we already know how we all feel about it, but we'll get technical. Here on Spooky Sips, we don't do stars, we do sips. So out of 5 sips, how many do you give this short?
I wanted more of it, but I agree. Like, I think it was perfect for as it is. So I'm going to rate it for what it is, not for like if it was I'm not going to compare it to long movies.
Right.
Yeah. So for what it is, for as a short, 3.5.
Yeah. I know. I feel like the acting, especially
the acting's terrible,
was like not incredible.
That's the one thing that brings it down a little.
Yeah.
That's why it's not a 4 for me.
Which, you know, again, it was extremely low budget. So I totally get it. But it's like, I think had a couple things been better, it would have been like a 4 for me. But I think, I have to drop it just a little bit. I kind of agree. Like 3.5.
Okay.
Honestly, that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Unanimous.
Loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely recommend watching it. Like it's very worth that 15 minutes.
Oh, no, it's so good. If you are like me and just like spooky vibes, like it's the perfect one for that.
It really is. Yeah.
Great job with the vibes. They did a great job with that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, next time we will be watching The Strangers.
Oh, yes.
So if you haven't seen that, you definitely should. I do know it's a scary one, so prepare yourself.
I'm scared.
I think you have to like go in
so
knowing it's going to go down in this movie.
I'm scared
excited
already.
I'm so excited. So if you haven't seen it, get watching and get sipping, and we'll see you next time on Spooky Sips.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Spooky Sips. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening. To stay up to date on all the spooky things we're up to, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at SpookySips_podcast. And if you want to help support the podcast, consider buying us a coffee, or really a cocktail. We are completely independent, so every little bit goes a long way to keeping our podcast running and improving. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.